One of the problems with Aliens, it is God of the gaps. It's a little bit intellectually lazy to reach for aliens every time.
It gives you the ultimate get-out.
They talk about vehicles moving at hypersonic speeds, like 40,000 miles per hour. I'm not saying they're lying or they're crazy or something, but if you want the scientific community to get on board with this, we need maybe Trump or someone to release this information so that we could actually look for it ourselves.
Tonight, we're looking at something people argue about constantly, whether life beyond Earth could actually exist, and what the real scientific community thinks about the claims, the footage, and the so-called evidence we've been shown over the years. No hype, no fear, no conspiracy, just a grounded explanation from one of the most respected astronomers in the field. Let's get into it.
The obvious opening question: do you believe aliens exist?
I'm open-minded to both possibilities. I think as a scientist, we have to remain objective. Now, if I walk around saying I'm 100% sure that aliens exist, then I would say that I run a risk as a scientist of, whenever I see something strange, of immediately leaping to the alien hypothesis and saying that must be the answer. So I try to remain open-minded and say, look, it is possible there are aliens out there, but it's also possible it's not. And it's my job as a scientist to provide evidence either way.
What is the most compelling stuff you've seen which suggests there might be?
I'd say the most compelling evidence I personally would lean on to have optimism about life in the universe is the fact that life got started on the Earth so quickly. So we know that from microfossil evidence and from paleontology. We see that life started on the Earth within a few 100 million years of it beginning. So that would lend credence to the idea that it is an easy process that happens on other Earth-like planets. And for me, that's probably the most substantive evidence I would lean on.
This point is interesting. He's basically saying that the speed at which life appears on Earth could be a clue on how often life emerges elsewhere. But notice he's careful not to overstate it. Scientists like him have to stay grounded in what can actually be measured.
Right, so look, astronomy is your thing. Just for those who are not into the astro world, give me the scale of planet Earth in the rest, the universes, the galaxies, everything. I mean, tell me how it works and how big it is.
Yeah, we are tiny. We are just one planet around, obviously, 8 planets around our sun. And that sun is just one of 100 billion stars, at least, in our own Milky Way galaxy. And that galaxy is just one of about 100 billion galaxies out there, just in the observable universe. Beyond that, it may go on forever.
And there could be other universes.
There could be a multiverse. There could be different types of multiverses. There's a lot of possibilities.
And I've seen someone do something where they do the expanding thing on a computer screen, and it just goes on and on and on and on. So my point being, we are such a tiny, tiny little dot in all this. To me, just logically, it seems completely unrealistic that there wouldn't be other stuff out there. We call them aliens, they call us aliens. I mean, when I apply for a visa in America, I actually have a visa as an exceptional alien. So the Americans call us aliens, right? As you probably know, probably have the same. But it seems to me highly likely that there must be.
Well, if you're going to do the statistics, and we talk about this language of likely or unlikely, then it really comes down to the numbers, right? So we have 100 billion times 100 billion stars. That's 10 to the 22, one with 22 zeros after it. Stars and planets probably just in our observable universe. So if you're going to say there are other intelligent aliens out there, then the question is the probability per planet of them creating something like us spontaneously from nothing, is that more than 1 in 10 to the 22? That's the question. And we don't know.
This is the part people skip over. The universe is massive, but the probability question isn't solved by size alone. He's getting at something subtle here. Big numbers don't equal certainty, and we still don't know how rare intelligent life might be.
So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, of course there must be, as lots of astronomers actually would. And I often complain about that to my colleagues who say it. They say, well, of course the numbers are so big, but we have no idea what the emergence probability is. It could be 1 in, a billion, go on and on and on, in which case...
But what about, people say, what about this area, whatever it is in America?
51.
Area 51, where apparently all sorts of alien stuff has been kept hidden away from the world, but they keep it there because it's scary and terrifying and doesn't have anything to do with planet Earth. Does it exist? And do you know anything that's in there?
Well, I'm an astronomer, so I don't have access to any military-grade secrets that are there. Obviously, Area 51 is a real place. Whether they have alien spacecraft there, as many have claimed, is true, especially in this documentary that you mentioned at the top. I don't know. I think if that evidence is there, the only way the public are ever going to become on board with it is if they actually present it to us. At the moment, all we have are personal testimonies, people saying that they've seen these things. And for scientists, that's just not good enough. Saying that my mate Dave saw something isn't the level of credence that we want to believe something.
I mean, we're called Uncensored for a reason, this show. We love to just get to the bottom of these things. The documentary that's come out, its director, Dan Farrar, believes the release of the film could prompt Donald Trump, the president, to reveal the existence of non-human intelligent life. It's certainly, knowing Donald Trump as well as I do, if there was clear evidence, I reckon he wouldn't be able to stop himself.
I mean, it would be wonderful if we had that evidence available. I'm sure there's lots of classified information that would greatly help. I mean, if you look at that documentary and some of the claims that are in it, they talk about vehicles moving at hypersonic speeds, like 40,000 miles per hour. The problem is, all the evidence we've seen, like there was these 3 famous videos that were released, the Pentagon, US Navy videos, and they were all over the news when they were released. But if you look at those videos, yes, the craft are doing strange things, but we don't actually know how far away those vehicles are. So if you want to know how fast something's moving or how big it is even, you need to know the range, the distance of that object. And there is no range information on any of the videos we've been presented with. So we just have to trust what the pilots and these government officials are telling us. And I'm not saying they're lying or they're crazy or something, but if you want the scientific community to get on board with this, we need maybe Trump or someone to release this information so that we could actually look for it ourselves.
How difficult is it for you to do your work now with AI, with the ease that people can just fake stuff in such a convincing manner?
I'd say it has become a challenge both as a professor, as an educator, because so many students are actually using it in the classroom in a way which is detracting from their education. They're essentially
So they're not really learning, they're just cutting and pasting.
It's become an intellectual crutch. Yeah, I mean, that's what these AI programs are doing. They're offsetting intellectual labor onto these machines. So these students have a free pass on many of these exams. And I've given it my own final exams, and they've passed the exams with flying colors. So that's a big problem. In terms of faking stuff, yeah, the fakes are getting more popular all over the place. That I don't normally deal with looking at UFO videos in my day job. The data I typically look at is from the James Webb Space Telescope or the Hubble Space Telescope, and that data is verified to come from NASA servers. So unless someone in NASA is faking that data and sending me down, we generally trust that data.
At the end of the day, whether we're talking UFO videos or search for life in another universe, the real story isn't about sensational claims. It's about what evidence actually shows. If you enjoyed a grounded conversation like this, feel free to subscribe. I keep everything here neutral, clear, and focused on what we can verify.